Order 701. Trustee Lee Cross.
Here.
Trustee Jay Fox.
Here.
Trustee Torres. Trustee Rogers.
Here.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Rivers.
Here.
Mayor Perkins. Here.
First item we have on the agenda is our public comments.
Come to the mic, please. Give your name. According to Attorney General, you do not have to give your address. You have 3 minutes. Please. And stay within your 3 minutes, please.
Ella Robinson. Up to the mic, please. Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ella Robinson. I have been living in Maywood over 40 years in the same address. Recently, I reported to the water department that they had been estimating my bill. So they sent out a person, and he said that the device wasn't working, whatever that's on the side of the house. He put a new one inside my home, and then when I got my bill, it was over $1,400. I came back, and the finance lady took off $400. But what I want to know is, and they say it had been estimated for 13 months. And what I want to know is if nobody that work in the village office knows when they are estimating your bill. I paid all the bills that they sent me. So I just want to know why they waited so long, estimated me for over a year. Thank you. Thank you.
Lucille Redmond.
Lucille Redmond. I have a question. I reported the people across the street from me twice. We got 6 trustees, a village manager, code enforcement, police department, and there's still an illegal car repair in a garage across the street from my house. Looks like the more I report him, the better his business gets. So maybe I need to stop reporting him. Also, for this pharmaceutical company that you're going to discuss tonight, I hope you find out what kind of pharmaceuticals that they're going to be manufacturing before you give them a contract. And also, at the last meeting, it was discussed that we are over $600,000 in the red. How can we justify giving up commercial property, giving up the taxes on commercial property for Maywood Fine Arts? The building that they have already, are they going to give that back to Maywood, or what? Or will there be 2 commercial properties that they're going to have and not pay taxes on? It's not fair to the taxpayers of this village. There's very few people in this village. I mean, with all the foreclosed homes, we cannot afford to be giving away commercial property tax-free. That's not doing us a hill of things of good. Thank you.
Jane Vandenberg.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First of all, I would like to make one thing clear. When I come to these meetings, it's strictly business. I'm anyone. I just come with my issues and hopefully they will be resolved. Okay? A couple trustees came after me at the last meeting and I wanted them to know, as of today, I'll be here with my sleeves rolled up. Okay? As far as my concern is concerned, my issue is concerned, the property at 828 South 17, they did some cleaning up, but there are still some trees hanging over or shed. And in order to get those things from over my property, I'll have to pay someone to do it, and it's not on my property. Also, the tree that's hanging over another property of ours, the limbs are dead. I've been speaking with Mr. West for about 4 months, and it's still hanging over my property. So I would like some more action, so to speak, done as far as these two issues are concerned. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dorothy Lang?
Good evening. I know it's not really good to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Thank you. Why are village employees so rude? This question has been asked over and over and over. I have some people on my block who are, Hispanic, and they don't understand everything. So because they know I go to board meetings, they try to get me to help them, and I try. Mr. West, I need to talk about him, he's not here. But you all have to do something with that man. He is so rude. I was trying to talk to him to tell him, ask him to help these people. Because they cut down some trees over there, they left the stump in the ground. They wanna put a driveway there, but the stump has to be removed. He told me that he runs that department, I don't wanna run it. All I can say is he ruins it. But my thing is, he did not have to speak so rude and harsh and stern like he did. I'm a resident, 78 years old, been here before he got that job that he does not need. And you all need to tell your employees that they treat customers who are paying their salary, because half of them don't live here anyway, paying their salary, they need to know how to treat us. Please, will someone please handle Mr. West and the young man in the cage down there? He said the village don't pay him so he can do what he wants to. He sits there, he reads the book, he talks on his telephone, asked Miss Lanier. He does what he wants to do. And he talks to us so nasty. We down there paying our water bill and the other lady left crying. I'm not gonna cry. Because, you know, there's another way to handle it besides crying. But these people, all the employees, you very seldom get a kind word. I can name you the two people that give you a kind word when they talk to you about time. You all need to do something with these employees. Now, I can look in the mirror and treat my own self better. But you have got to do something. I guess they get it from you all. But they pass it on. But please, you do something with those employees because they're not treating us right.
Thank you.
That concludes the comment.
Somebody.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Robinson, in regards to your water bill, I did speak with you regarding this matter. And yes, I do know there was a problem with your meter. When we found out there was a problem, staff did go out and replace the meter. Based on our ordinance, our finance director has authority to take off 20% of the water bill that's outstanding to help offset the cost. We can talk further about it, but at this time, we follow protocol. We're going to be discussing this, it is on the agenda, going to be discussing just in general the reason for the estimate water bills. But as of right now, that's where we stand. Mr. Redmond, in regards to the illegal car repair, I was not aware of that. Nevertheless, I will get that address after the meeting and then follow up with you exactly in touch bases with our code department. You should not be running the illegal automobile repair shop out of your garage unless you work on your own vehicle. In regards to the type of pharmaceutical company, that will be addressed on the agenda tonight. We have them here. As far as Maywood Fine Arts, we did discuss this last week. One of the reasons this was a board decision, the board did decide to sell the lot to Maywood Fine Arts, to bring them in and know, and to answer your question, are they gonna give us their previous building and they own? No, they're not. One of the whole intent was to bring Maywood Arts in, and Trustee Rogers also highlighted on it, is to really raise the bar on the Fifth Avenue area. It's not like we're giving it away. The Maywood Fine Arts paid a price. They're paying $330,000 for the lot in the village of selling it to them. Ms. Vandenberg, yes, we did have staff go out and take care of 828 South 17 cleanup, but I'll have them take a look at the trees that you're indicating, along with some dead trees. Ms. Dorothy Lane, nevertheless, we need to work on customer service. We will look into that. Also, I'll speak with Mr. West, and we are working on our front area where they take in the cashier. The finance director and I have talked about that, so we are working on that area, just so you're aware. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, Mayor. Question, Mr. Myers,
Yes.
for Ms. Robinson, who had the issue with estimated water bills. Is there a reason why she wasn't referred to the Water Review Commission? I mean, do we not have that in existence anymore?
From my understanding, it is in existence.
You said is or is not?
From my understanding, it is in existence, from my understanding. We have members on the board, correct? Yeah, it is.
We're in the process of getting that straightened out.
But the question that I'm asking is that since she had concern, especially given that she had 13 months of estimated bills, and we were supposed to have previously installed new meters in every home in Maywood, and if there was a problem as a result of estimated bills, she should have been directed first to the Water Review Commission to hear the case before the decision was made. Now, they may have decided, after hearing her case and reviewing the file, that she may not have warranted the full amount, that's 20%. So I think that we need to revisit it and direct her to the Water Review Commission and let her have a fair hearing before a final decision is made.
I give her a call and follow up. Yeah.
Did you understand what I was referring to?
I don't know nothing about what you're talking
Okay.
about.
We have a Water Review Commission. You want to tell them about it? Was that before your time? You don't know about it?
You can do that.
Okay, all right. We have a Water Review Commission that hears cases regarding residents who have received estimated water bills over a period of time. And what they do is they come before the Water Review Commission. They have an opportunity to go to the Water Department and request a copy of their files up to the last 5 years. And then you will be given a date when your case will be heard. You will come before the Water Review Commission, express your concerns about your bill being as it has, as you stated to us, and they will determine, once they've reviewed the files and also heard from the Water Department and Finance Director why they feel it's justifiable to keep that amount charged to your account, and that commission will determine whether it's fair or not. And if they vote in your behalf, they may reduce it and then bring it to the full board for final approval. So that it's a fair and equitable process to hear a case concerning a water bill, especially when it's a result of estimates. And over a year in estimates is a long time, and that should have been caught a long time ago.
Next item on the agenda, approval of minutes for the Legal License Orders Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 10th, 2014. Found in the packet on page 4.
Mayor, Trustee Cross, did we skip over A1?
Oh, yes. Mr. Meyer.
Pardon me?
Discuss the Garden Water Bill process.
We just got finished with public comments about the next item on the minutes. Sorry.
Approval of the minutes.
Approval of minutes.
Oh, after, oh,
Oh,
okay.
you, okay, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Move for the approval of the minutes of the LLOC for September the
approval of the minutes for the legal license ordinance committee meeting Wednesday, September 10th, 2014. Are there any questions?
Mayor,
Trustee Clark.
on page 4 at the top, 7 at the bottom, this would be in reference to B1, ordinance approving first addendum. There was the discussion and then a motion by trustee Rogers and second by, I'm sorry, that's not the one. The question that I do have is, on page 8, there's a typographical error. Under 3, pardon me? 3, the motion by trustee trustee Doris. Page 5 at the top, item 3. Second paragraph, where's the motion by trustee Doris? And the word should be second and not section. Okay. On page 6 at the top, page 9, at the bottom, the motion by trustee Rogers. Is this not, there's no indication of what those errors are.
Now, where are you at on?
I'm on the bottom of page 9. It's page 6 of 9 at the top and 9 at the bottom. There's no explanation of what the errors are. So it just said the errors in the packet, so how do we know as a follow-up?
But you did put page 2.
Is that, well,
On page 1, it was at page 2.
okay, but we never got them, so.
So, I'm not understanding exactly what is it that we need to do here.
Well, I was questioning it because it wasn't clear, and we never received them as a second to that.
Page 2 in the packet.
Part of it, the package was not complete, that was one part of it. And then it also referred to someone else and not the business that came before us.
Trustee Jacob.
Same page, page 6 of 9 at the top. Right where I begin to make my comment, where it says, that although First Avenue is the area most in need of repair, actually I said from First to Second Avenue on Washington Boulevard, not First Avenue itself.
Now, where are you at?
Right in the middle of the discussion, it says trustee Jaycox commented that although First Avenue is in the area most in need of repair, the correct statement should be First to Second Avenue on Washington Boulevard. Not First Avenue. Also on page, page 8 of 9 at the top. Under the first bullet point, pretty much the second line from the bottom, where, now is obtaining aggregates to fill the potholes without the cost being an expense to the village. Just a small error. And,
Excuse me, you want that to
just to say, the cost being an expense to the village. Also, let's go back to, page 1, which will be page 4 at the bottom.
Page what?
Page 4 at the bottom, we don't have a page, it's the beginning of the minutes. Right at the very bottom. I would suggest, just for the record, Angela Smith confirmed with the village attorney, that no other proposals were received by the village of Maywood for redevelopment, because it's in regard to the redevelopment project.
For the redevelopment of that particular
Right.
site. Yep.
On that particular site. Okay, and that, I think, does it for me. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did have a couple comments that we'll share with the clerk. If I could just point them out very quickly to the rest of the board. I didn't see everybody 2 of 9. There is a discussion at the top of 2 of 9. Page 2 of 9, it's page 5 at the bottom. You can see the last about 3 sentences from the bottom of that top discussion. Attorney Mars and Jerusalem responded. The agreement is no longer in a negotiable state. The point was that the agreement at that time was in a final form on August 13th, 2014, and no substantive changes were made from the August 13th date through that particular meeting with us. And I did give the clerks my the verbiage to clean it up. And then the other one of significance was page 4 of 9. This is B1, the first sentence where it says Chief Brownell's presentation. You can see the second line down. It says a reimbursement program. Maybe it's a mutual aid program, even though the addendum is related to a reimbursement matter. Mavis itself is a mutual aid program. That's the only substantive changes in it.
Mayor,
Trustee Rogers.
I amend my motion to consider the points that, the amendments that were brought up.
Mayor,
Trustee,
I had a few more I'd like to say. I have a couple more.
okay.
Page 4 of 9 at the top under B1. In the discussion, 5th line or last sentence, it says Chief Brownell will provide additional information to Trustee Rivers. That should have been to the full board. On page 7 of 9, item 6, regarding the winter section and the discussion. The 9th line.
In the discussion,
Yes, it begins with Trustee Rogers. Go down 3 more where it's, Mayor Perkins asked for clarification on it. 117,000 pounds. It was, I think that there was a little bit more to that, but I'll read that. I'll leave it. That's all.
Mayor, I would amend my motion to consider the corrections that proposed on
Ross?
Aye.
Trustee Jacob?
Aye.
Trustee Doris? Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot? Trustee Rivers?
Aye.
Mayor Perkins?
Aye.
Motion carried. With corrections.
Item number 5, we have public item. First public item on the agenda is the mayor's report. First item on the agenda, the mayor's report, we have discussion regarding the water bill procedure. The mayor requested that we decide to place on the agenda to discuss the water bill estimate procedure.
The reason I asked for this to be on the agenda, I'm getting calls from citizens who have the problem that Ms. Robinson had. Now, we borrowed $1 million from Seaway Bank, and we have exhausted that. We are paying the notes on that bill, and put in every home alleged in the village of Maywood new meter. Now, there's no reason that any citizen in the village of Maywood with a meter water account should be getting estimated bills. I want, I feel, and with the board approval or with however they want to see it, we need to take a look at that. Now, Ms. Robinson has been paying the bill that have been sent to her. There's nowhere in the world for 1 year that anyone should get an estimated bill for 1 year. That should have been flagged. It should have been stopped. The question should have came up. What is the problem? She's not the only one. Like I say, I'm getting calls in my office asking what's the problem. So therefore, we as a board need to take a look at that, whatever we have to do. It's not fair to the citizens, and we have a lot of senior citizens that are having this problem. There's no way in the world a citizen in the village of Maywood, after we paid for a company to come out and put in brand new meters alleged in every home in the village of Maywood. It's called Meter Ready, and what the system was supposed to be, someone from the water department was supposed to ride down the street with a radio and collect the data from every home in the village of Maywood. So there's no reason why now the citizens, and especially our seniors, should be getting an estimated bill, and to be estimated for 1 year, and then for them to get a $1,400. I have a senior that's got a $600. Another senior called me, $800. And like they said, they have been told they got to pay this bill, and they don't have the money to pay this bill because it's not their fault. They don't work for the village of Maywood. So we have to take a look at that. We, the board, with Mr. Myers, need to take a look, or whomever we need to talk with to get this straightened out. Because the seniors are hollering help. Not only the seniors, we have other people, and they are calling my office asking what they can do. And true, we had a water review committee, but you may not know I have attempted to put people on different committees, and I have been stopped, but we won't have that conversation either. So I'm in the process of finishing up that committee, so therefore the people can go before the water review committee and see what the problem is. But no citizens in the village of Maywood should get an estimated bill. And unfortunately, what we're going to have to do is inform our citizens, if you get an estimated bill, that's a red flag. There's something wrong. You need to call the village and find out what the problem, because all the meters have been changed in the village of Maywood for them to be read by employee, and that data turned into the water department, and you get what you call an 8, which stands for actual water reading. And also you can call your own numbers in. You may not be aware of that, but you call your own numbers in. But no citizen should be getting an estimated water bill in the village of Maywood. Now, if any other trustees have any comments, or Mr. Myers, but that's why I asked for it to go on there, because of the fact that I'm getting calls at my office and I can't settle this,
Mayor?
Mayor?
Mr. Myers. Trustee Croft,
Okay.
and then Mr. Myers.
Thank you. I just want to point out that as part of the audit, there's a reference to the water and the meter reading in particular, so I'm hoping that we will have further discussion on this issue on the water and the estimates, because it's also referred to in the audit that was presented to us. And just for the other trustees, if you don't recall, it's on page 5 of the communication packet.
Thanks, Trustee Croft. Mayor, in regards to your statements regarding estimated water bills, yes, our water bills, some water bills have been estimated. It can happen for various reasons, whether a wire is disconnected or a meter could be working improperly. But yes, we do need to work on a mechanism to catch it for our residents. One of the shortfalls has been is really just trying to have the staff to actually go out and have the meters looked at and evaluated. I do know that as right now the finance department is using gentlemen in the water department, and I know with public works, they're working on other tasks. A lot of time is not been dedicated to that. Did have a discussion with the finance director where we need to reallocate, to just look and see to whether bring someone in to assist to properly read the meters, and not only to just read the meters, to evaluate to see if there's any issues with the system in general. That's it in a nutshell. We are looking into that matter. I did speak with the finance director to try to get this matter resolved, and I have got not a lot, but a couple of residents have came in and said, hey, the bill's estimate, but then a lot of times it may be back on them that something may be wrong. So it's a matter when we to put a mechanism in place to find out why it's estimate, and then B, get someone out to actually look at it.
Any other comments? Trustee Rod?
Mayor, yeah, I think it might be a good idea if staff could sort of delineate or diagram the process as it stands now, prepare something for us to take a look at. And in that, identify where there could be breakdowns and the result of where those breakdowns could be. You mentioned a couple of them, the wires. The other part of that is the actual manpower to do the reading, because the meters themselves have that capability, but you still have to have the manpower. It's not unusual to have some interim estimates, but it is very unusual to have it be multiple months. So I know there are places where you can have an estimate 1 month and an actual the next month, so that keeps it from being far off. And the actual actually balances it from however much the estimate would have been off. But within 60 days, you have an actual. But anyway, it would be helpful if we've got something that delineates those steps, so that as it comes to budget processes and those other kinds of things, because we don't manage the day-to-day.
Yes.
But if there's something that needs to be adjusted in the budget process, where if we need additional labor force, then we can consider that as we enter into the budget.
Madam President.
Trustee Rivers?
Mr. Myers, maybe we could consider, could we maybe have a representative from the company maybe come in? Because I'm thinking when you said, I noticed that it's an antenna system, and people maybe have done work in their homes and maybe disturbed the antenna. So I'm saying, whereas the company, if they would maybe be able to give us a little pamphlet or something, maybe we could send out with the water bill, saying if you have work in your basement, so and so and so, you know, that it might have disturbed this unit, and how to, if this has happened, how to contact finance, water department, and, you know, we can get someone from the village out there.
Okay, great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Trustee Cross.
2 points I want to make on this. First of all, I have a couple questions. One, do we know for sure that every home in the village of Maywood has a new meter in it? Is that,
Every home does not.
okay. Why?
Various reasons.
Give some.
They were able to,
Could you stand up and speak loud enough?
we have them indicated in the system by a route number, and for the most part, when United Meters were here, the V-Box wasn't, able to be shut off, so they couldn't turn the water off to change the meter if the resident didn't have a functioning shut-off valve. Other reasons were the plumbing that was currently in the resident's home. They did offer plumbing services, but the residents, couldn't afford it at that time, and we were gonna circle back to them. But for the most part, it was issues on our part as it relates to V-Box.
Do you have a guesstimate of how many homes still
I
do
would
not
say
have meters?
About 1%.
And what are we doing to put in place the process that, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about it earlier, and the resident indicated that she was getting the estimates, and I informed her about the water review commission. What are we doing to alert and inform the rest of the residents who may have moved in since that commission was formed, to let them know if they do have, we're not advertising it, we're not putting it in our newsletter as a reminder?
The commission isn't currently functioning, so we are unable to refer them to the Board Review Commission. As the mayor stated, she's in the process of, getting that commission up and running, but it is not. We have an adjustment already in place that affords you a 2.5% discount for each month that you were estimated over 3. If that exceeds the 20% that I'm able to do either of the two, which I'll offer right off the bat. If they disagree, then it's usually the manager who refers to the water review committee, and that's if the resident is not satisfied with the adjustment. For example, if they felt that they should receive an adjustment and I disagreed and the manager disagreed, then they come to the water review commission. I've given them full discount. They can still come to the water review commission, but they've already received the full discount.
How is it determined?
Because
When I was on that commission, it wasn't that you made that decision, it was the board reviewed the case, you were present, and you spoke on behalf of the village. And when the decision was made that the commission determined that it should be waived or reduced in some manner, that came to the full board. That wasn't a decision that was made by the manager or the finance director. So has it changed? Is that what you're saying?
It's always been the case. If we disagree at the staff level, and the citizen or resident wants to take it further, then that's when they come to the board.
It comes
Or
to the,
even if we give them an adjustment and they still, are not satisfied,
Yeah.
then it comes to the board review. We do have authority at staff level to make adjustments.
the point I'm trying to make is that this young lady was not even informed that if she was dissatisfied.
We don't have a water review commission.
Do we not have, well, here's it's a board of 7. And so, and the mayor has tried to appoint additional members too, or replace some of the members who are not there for various reasons. Is there not enough of them until a new member has been added to fulfill the quorum? Is that what you're saying? So there's not.
There's not a functioning board. They have to go through the training and, all the things that it takes. They haven't done that. I believe the mayor has just indicated.
And I thought that the members continue to serve in their capacity until such time someone else has been appointed. So,
The only thing I can say is we don't have a function.
well, that's what the statute says, is that, you know, I'm just trying to understand why we're not trying to do that. Because we're making decisions that are having a financial impact on the residents, especially given that there's an estimate, and we were all led to believe that that was going to change once those new meters were installed. So it's not supposed to hit them in the pocket like this if everything is appropriately carried out. On both sides. So, you know, I have to speak on behalf of the village as well as the resident.
The only other thing that I can add is that, yes, we did install the system 2005, 2006. The system has to be maintained in order to continue to function at the same capacity when it was installed. We have not had the manpower to maintain the system.
But it's unfair for us not to address these issues when it has a great impact on residents as, you know, it currently has. And you can say, well, because we don't have the staff. I mean, it's been in existence for 9 years. So we have to do something immediately about that, including trying to get those additional members on that water review commission. That's not your issue, but that's just a comment that I'm throwing out with that, because our residents are being impacted by it greatly.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Trustee Rivers.
Madam President, I've heard several references to the lack of the Water Review Commission. And if my memory serves me correctly, one of the reasons why we don't have a Water Commission is because they were all asked to resign. And they haven't been reappointed. So, I mean, to keep trying to shuffle this on the board, I think is a bit unfair. The entire board, the entire commission was asked to resign. So we haven't replaced them, and we are replacing candidates that we feel as though are acceptable. And so we look forward to filling these positions and having this board up and running. So I just don't think that's fair that the statements bear out. Thank you.
Mayor,
Trustee Jacob.
according to my records here, we're supposed to have 7 members on the Water Review Commission. 4 serves a 3-year term, 3 serve 2 years. And then the term of office of member shall be 2 years or until his successor is appointed. According to my records here, we have 2 new members that we just appointed to the Water Review. They were appointed June 18, 2014. And we have 2 members whose term expired November 19, 2015. So we do have 4 members on that commission. So whether they have met or not, or if they know, they're supposed to meet the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock. So that commission should be up and running. And I would think that someone needs to contact these people and let them know that we have problems and they need to meet and address some of these issues. So we do have a quorum for the commission.
I will address that. We do have a quorum. Now, to be on a committee, you have to go through training. And they are in the process of going through the training. And when they finish the training, they will meet. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more items under your report, Mayor? Any more items under your report? Any more items under your report?
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is village manager report. Before I dive into my report, just a little housekeeping. For each board member, I put the LLOC and regular board meeting dates up here. The next board meeting is October 7th. October 7th, so there will not be a board meeting next week, but the following October 7th. This is based on the schedule that was approved by the village board. Just as a reminder, next village board meeting is October 7th. There'll be no board meeting next week, okay? First item on the village manager report is a proposal for an honorary street sign for Mr. Anthony J. Thomas. Village of Maywood, he was our former coordinator of compliance. The item is found in your packet on page 14. As you recall, Mr. Thomas, he worked here for many years. His wife is present here also in the audience. What's your request? Thank you. The family is requesting a honorary street sign for the 2100 block of 13th Avenue. Just a little information about Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas' block was roughly, he's been working for 30 years until his ultimate death in August 2013. He was a man of the community. He worked, he lived and played. And also in his early career, he was worked as animal control officer, worked his way all the way up to the director of the department. So in your packet, we have the application for the honorary street sign. Also, this item did go to Traffic and Safety Commission. They approved it. First to the second.
Mayor,
Trustee Rogers?
I move to concur with the recommendation of the traffic committee and place the item for approval of the honorary street in the honor of Anthony Thomas on the regular board meeting agenda.
Second.
And moving in second, that this be placed on the regular board meeting for approval. Are there any questions?
Mayor,
Trustee Crawford?
first of all, I'd like to say that my comments tonight are in no way a reflection or disrespect to the late Anthony Thomas or the Thomas family. However, given the fact that we have gone through a number of issues with the Traffic and Safety Commission and administrative staff as it relates to approving honorary street signs, I ask that this board repeal this commission until such time as we have a permanent village manager. The reason why I state that is because we have had recent situations where there have been applications that have been submitted and the process has not been in the manner that it should have. We have not followed the ordinance as it was initially written. And so my concern is that we have an ordinance in place, and when it's not followed in the manner that it should, then it creates additional problems for the village. Again, I am not in no way disrespecting the late Mr. Thomas nor his family, but I must plead with this board to make that decision to repeal it until such time so that a village manager can come in and address these issues and make sure that when this decision is made, it is made without any question in the proper manner that it should have been. We have not been following it. The application, as it was presented, there was no problem with the request, Ms. Thomas, but in the process that is part of the decision-making here, that was not the way that it should be. And so I don't want to have something come before the board that has not been presented in the manner that it should by our ordinances. And so, again, I ask that a repeal be made.
Trustee Jacob?
If I could just address this issue and ask Trustee Rogers to also amend his motion. Part of the process is for a $750 fee. And the board made that decision to set that fee if it's denied, the $700 returned to the applicant. But also, there was some notes in here that the fee was waived. I think that's a board decision to do that. But I think think that the board would be in favor of waiving it, but I would ask them to make that recommendation as part of the motion, that we do waive the $750 fee.
Second.
I'm sorry. Well, I'd be willing to accept that, amendment to the motion, the waiver of fee. Well, but anyway, all this motion is to put it on the regular agenda.
Right.
In which case we have, time to, deal with additional matters, but, I am willing to accept that amendment to my motion to, move it to the regular board with consideration of fee waiver as well.
Second.
It's moved in second and moved to the full board, and also the fee waiver be included in this. Are there any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee LaCrosse?
No.
Trustee Jaycock?
Aye.
Trustee Doris? Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot?
Aye.
Trustee Rivers?
Aye.
Mayor Perkins?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you so much. Next item we have on the village manager report is discussion regarding proposed construction of a fueling station at 2100 Madison Street to be permitted in an M1 zoning district. So we're looking for pre-authorization. This item is found in your packet on page 28. We have, this is American Waste. We have Mr. Banner here present, along with his consultant. You guys can come forward. We have a presentation?
Yes, we do.
Okay, we need to do a jump drive. Angela or Carl, can you help them out?
Great.
Screen is here.
You already know here? Good evening, Mayor Perkins. My name is Tom Burnett, representing Mr. Vedic in this matter. This is the only request we're asking for this commission is to refer this matter to the Plan Commission. This matter's been for quite some time, and we're both anxious to try to get a public hearing on this. We think that it's a win-win for the property owner as well as the village of Maywood, who's bringing economic development, bringing a source of sales tax. Perhaps if you chose to adopt the fuel tax ordinance under your authority to bring additional income. Mr. Boyd's going to walk you through it. We just want to, we recognize you can't take any action, you can't be judges before we visit the Planning Commission. We would ask, however, that you express a support for us going before the Planning Commission on October 14th. We prepared all the property owners' names.
Can you please speak in the mic?
Notice in the newspaper, it's sufficient time.
Can you speak in the mic?
There's the microphone, I missed it, thank you very much. So, just to summarize, we'd be requesting referral, to the October 14th Plan Commission meeting so that we can proceed with this, and then come back to you again either in late October or early November, hopefully with a positive recommendation so we can proceed. Chris LeBoy's gonna walk you through what we're proposing. Chris, you ready?
Good evening, my name is Chris LeBoy from CM LeBoy and Associates, for consulting engineers and consultants for the owners of the property
before you. And I have put together a very brief presentation that we also presented informally to staff and, earlier in the year, that we laid out an opportunity to redevelop this property, which is located at the transfer station on Madison. Looking at the property, it has some very unique characteristics because of the access on 25th Avenue and access all the way through the property, all the way to 19th. And with that, looking at the operations of the existing transfer station, it's somewhat inefficient the way it operates because of the size of the buildings and the way that they utilize their existing buildings, which could be downsized and made a very efficient way to redevelop the site and bring in a secondary use to the site that would be a benefit to the village. We are proposing to do a fueling facility here, and because of the drive, the length of that drive, the way trucks can actually stack on private property, and I'll go through it, you'll see it on the site plan in a minute. It offers that unique characteristics that is really not to be found anywhere close. And with the close proximity to the Eisenhower and trucks needing fuel in this area, this would be a very attractive solution for people outside of Maywood to come in and fuel here and route right back out onto the Eisenhower or in the local area within the logistical world here as far as warehousing and trucking activity that exists today. Let me just reach over and change the page. We are on the cusp of looking at a new fueling operation here and utilizing some natural gas that's American, that's here, that we have in this country, and integrating that into the transportation network. This project was originally, came before you last year. There's several opportunities across the country where this type of fuel, this LNG fuel, is being used, especially on the West Coast. We happen to have a lot of natural gas here, and there's several different opportunities with companies developing engines that can actually run on our natural gas and not a petroleum-based product. And that's what LNG is all about. It's cleaner, it's efficient, and it's ours. And we'd like the opportunity to utilize this unique opportunity here in Maywood because of the condition and the shape and the size of the property that wouldn't put trucks on the street. It would put trucks on a private drive that exists today as part of the transfer station. There are several different, like I said, across the country, they're utilizing LNG up and down the West Coast. You can actually drive a truck on the West Coast all the way from the Canadian border, all the way down south on LNG. And it's replacing, in the transportation industry, it's replacing the need for diesel. The intent here at the station would be to design it, develop it into a multiple-use type facility where if you can picture one saddlebag on a semi-truck would be diesel, and one saddlebag where they put the fuel in on the other side would be LNG, and the engines being developed by Cummins operates off of both. So while we have trucks here that the other unique characteristic of the trucking industry here is that a lot of our trucks here are in and around Maywood, come and go from the same location. They're not over-the-road trucks. They come and go here. They make deliveries, they do all kinds of things here, which means they can get their fuel here and they can operate here and refuel when they come back. So the property really offers the opportunity to bring to Maywood a multi-dimensional new fueling facility that would bring an opportunity for LNG in this area and put it right in the heart of Chicagoland. And that's something that we have looked at and bringing into the as a secondary use to this property that would work just fine. And on the screen, you'll see here where the fueling tank on the side of a truck is very similar to that of a diesel tank. It's a little different, but it basically is one side of the truck would be an LNG, and then the other side would be diesel. And over time, as this gets integrated throughout, and LNG becomes developed all over in the transportation network, both saddlebags can be converted to LNG. So I'm excited about it because, like everyone here, it's American made, and I'm proud to be on the cusp of it in the engineering world, and I'm happy to present this to you tonight as an opportunity for Maywood. The project site is between 19th Avenue and 25th Avenue on Madison. And as I said, it's zoned to M1, as you see on the land use and zoning map. We are asking for that special use for putting this facility in there. And looking at the aerial of the property, you're looking at it north on the top of the page, and 25th Avenue on the left-hand side of the page, and 19th Avenue on the right-hand side of the page, with the magenta color identifying the property. And in addition to that, you can see that there's a very long drive coming in off of 25th Avenue from the left. It's a full normal right-of-way width, which used to be a railroad right-of-way, and it's owned by the Vedics, and that exists today as part of the access to the transfer station, which is located right on the top right-hand side, the larger building within the encompassed area. So traffic would enter in off of 25th Avenue and travel to the east across the page here to the right, fuel, and then come back out onto 19th Avenue, circulate back around to the west, either that or go over to the other, not 19th, it's what, 17th has access to the Eisenhower, or 25th Avenue, and go back on the Eisenhower, or go northbound, as this 25th Avenue gets improved over time in Bellwood. But just because of the unique characteristics of the site, it's ideal for this condition. And when you look at the existing use and the size of the building that's here now, it's very large for the operation, much too large for the operation, and downsizing it would be a very effective way to save money on the operational costs. And what you see here, if you look closely, is an outline, L-shaped outline of a new building that we're proposing to put in its place. We're going to demolish two buildings here to make room for this facility and still operate that transfer station as you see. This is a blow-up of the site. You can see the green lines indicate the tire motions of a truck. You can see that they can access off of Madison, but the truck traffic would be, in order to get fuel, they would have to access off of 25th Avenue. The green lines that come off of Madison would be as a secondary access for the transfer station only. As you can see, you won't be able to navigate through the site and get fuel coming in off of Madison. The intent here is to keep that truck traffic off of Madison, comes in off of 25th Ave, and circulates back around in Bellwood and goes back onto 25th Ave as a return. But here you'll see like I said, the green lines indicate the tire motions. The building in the center that's a light gray indicates the building with the pumps. And the building on the upper left-hand corner would be the new building that would house the operational procedures for the office procedures for the transfer station, as well as a garage for the maintenance of their vehicles. And that's an even closer look. So you can see on the left-hand side is a 3,200 square foot proposed building, and the existing building that's there is quite large. much bigger than that, and it is really not needed. So we're looking at making an improvement aesthetically to the neighborhood too, which as we go a little further through the presentation here, I can show you what our rendition is of what this new building would look like. As an engineer, it's black and white. They look better to me. But it's something that we put together a projection here, and believe me, it is a projection. I looked into my crystal ball and I said, look, this is what I would think of how many trucks per hour, how many hours of operation, which can also be changed, but I looked at it as a 24-hour operation. And on the inception, on the first year, diesel would be a large part of that, and with no LNG in 2015. And as we move forward through, you can see down to the year 2020 in the center column, the alternate fuels would increase as we move on through the years. And with the price of fuel today, as best I can tell when I put this chart together, you move all the way to the right, and in the first year, based on 8 trucks per hour, the sales tax revenue would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $320,000 the first year.
This chart doesn't take into account the possibility the village might adopt a fuel tax, is that correct?
What I did here is, on this chart, I think I assumed that the current sales tax is 1%, and I did this chart based on a 2% with that assumption in mind. That since we are home rule here, that we could do that. So I did, and that's one of those little notes you can't read there. The village sales tax revenue on number 2 there, those projections on this screen would be based on a 2% tax rate.
Okay, perhaps a larger question, Mr. Jacek, about the authority to do a fuel tax on a use like this if it chooses.
Yes. And I want to jump the screen for a second here. I'll show you, not part of the original slide presentation was just the elevation of the building. So that's what we anticipate the building to look like. The top elevation, you can see, is really nicely landscaped. It has an access door on the right-hand side, which would be your normal garage door. It would be decorative, but the building on the extreme left-hand side, where you see that standing column, would be the entrance of the new facility. And that entrance to the facility is shown on the east elevation. So it's something that there's high visibility there to the operations from those windows. The current operation is that there is a person monitoring the in, the out, what's coming in, what's coming out on scales, and that operation can be monitored and viewed at that point, and it would circulate the site in the same manner that the fueling trucks would come into the site. So that's the back side of the building where you see that says west elevation, that would be facing Bellwood. And the south elevation is obviously facing that long right-of-way, and you'll see the access door there for the transfer station maintenance building. And I'll rest with questions.
I'd just like to add that Mr. and Mrs. Dick are here in the audience, two ladies and gentlemen here in the middle, and we're prepared to answer any questions, but we respectfully request a referral to your plan commission so that we can have the necessary public hearing and come back to you with this.
Madam President? Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm just gonna lay it out, this is some of my concerns. With your existing, with the existing transfer station, it's obsolete, and actually, it's obsolete, and actually it's starting to create a problem over there for the residents with the odor. So if you're gonna revamp, are you gonna revamp this transfer station? Will this transfer station be upgraded?
Bill, you want to join us? Yeah. Bill, you want to go up to the microphone?
evening.
Good evening.
I'm Living Vedic, I'm the president of American Waste. To address your issue with the complaint, our facility takes in grass. And over the course of the summer, that is generally where the odors emit from. We have been addressing this by removing grass on a daily basis, and I don't think it's been an issue for the last month or so. We also spray the grass with a surfactant that keeps the odor down. And quite frankly, when there's a south wind, it blows north, and the people along Madison did get odors. But I think that's been solved. I know I've received complaints from residents, and we immediately address them. I hope that we solve the problem.
Now, you stated that you take in grass only?
Grass and tree branches, leaves, whatever landscape green waste, plus the other part of the business is construction and demolition debris. There's no municipal garbage that comes into that facility. We do not do any homes. Ours is all hard waste, wood, paper, plastic. We recycle primarily 80% of what comes in to short circuit landfill. 25% a mattress, a couch, that type of material would be landfill. Anything that we can put back into the recycling part of the environment is what we do. But the odors specifically.
Well, like I said, I mean, I've gotten calls and I had to go over it a couple times. And you are correct to this point. It's not a consistent problem, but it is,
Well, I know there were some issues, and
absolutely, because I came over myself, but, but to my question, are you going to do anything? Are you going to upgrade the transfer station itself?
in terms of upgrading it, I mean, we operate under a roof, and with the new construction on the LNG facility, we're gonna make some changes, not only to the transfer station itself, by putting up a barrier wall.
Very well, you know, when you got the fence now and the wall, you're gonna replace that?
We're gonna add to it and enclose more of it, so if we do get a south wind, it would be buffered from Madison Street. Because the facility is open on the south side.
Absolutely.
And the north side has got a wall 80% of that building, and there's one piece, 20%, maybe 30 feet, that is open. But we'll close that off, absolutely.
Okay. And the other concern is, now are you, will the fueling station, will that be a part of, American Waste? Will that be a part, will they just be purchasing a piece of your property or what?
No, I will retain ownership, and that will be operated by a professional company that will handle both the construction and the dispensing of fuels. So it'll be a lease type arrangement on the property.
Okay, and another concern, maybe, now, this is gonna come up, it sits right in the middle of residential area. And safety, and you're telling people you're gonna put a filling station in the center of a residential area.
Well, it's residential on the north. To the south,
It's residential.
no, it's industrial.
No, it's residential. 19th is residential. But I know the area that you're speaking of from 25th to 19th is industrial, but you've got 17th, 18th, and 19th, that's all residential. So what I'm saying by the close proximity, what would you be putting out as far as informational as the safety of telling someone you're gonna put a right in, you know, in the proximity of their home.
Well,
See, I read, actually, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I read your material, and I read the comparison of gasoline, diesel, and the gas, and the combustibles and all of this. But I'm saying, you've got to, you know, we're gonna have to, you know, turn around and tell residents, you know, you don't, it's not like you're having we're not putting a refinery 2 blocks away from you. So, like I said, it's gonna be a mindset. So I'm asking you, what type of safety procedures will this facility entail?
That's a very good question, and I hope I can address it to your satisfaction. This facility, prior to being built, will be reviewed and approved by local fire as well as the state fire marshal's office. As far as the above ground tank, and with that, there's other information in your packet, I'm sure, related to the different ways LNG actually reacts. But when it comes, it's delivered here to this site, it's not made here, it's not refined here. What it is, it goes through a liquefaction process and converts our natural gas to a liquid form. So it's almost like the gas that comes out of your stove at home, when you cool it to minus 260 in a cryogenic state, it turns into a liquid. And that liquid is not flammable. What's flammable is when you have the proper mixture of air and gas, that the actual vapor becomes flammable. But as the gas dissipates in the air, the atmosphere, if I let LNG, if I took a glass of LNG today and spilled it on this table, it would be like a violent bubbling, and it would evaporate into the air, and it would be gone. And so it's something that, it's a much different type of approach to safety, much different type of approach to what we have currently. This will be reviewed by the fire marshal's office and then by the local fire department here. The tank that you see here is a temporary storage tank. It has all of the current safety devices on it, as far as alarms, as far as sensors. Anything that happens there, the whole system shuts down. And that tank, with the LNG in that form, is non-flammable. If I took that LNG and put it into a confined area that's not open air, the vapor, as it evaporates, becomes potentially flammable if there's a spark. But this is a state-of-the-art facility. They're built all up and down the West Coast. It's being integrated across the country in the transportation system. You might have heard Mr. Pickens down in Texas has several of these stations up and running. And in fact, there's one in downstate Illinois, down in Edwardsville, on that network coming out of St. Louis. So we will meet all of the codes here, and we will help with the safety. We will help the state fire marshal's office as this thing moves forward. And the permitting process will require it, and we want to make sure it's going to be safe too. We'll address that appropriately.
The gentleman makes a good point. When we go to the planning commission, we need to address, and we appreciate you highlighting this for us, we need to address the safety issues that are incorporated into this and answer people's concerns about the impact on the residential.
Please, no problem. Also, my concern was, excuse me, I noticed one of the out routes actually would be using Maywood Drive, South Maywood Drive.
It's possible. I don't know.
But we don't really want, I mean, you just said it wouldn't be naturally, and we don't want them using Madison on a regular basis.
That's correct.
So, I mean,
it would be designed where that wouldn't be possible for trucks wanting to enter and get fuel to come in off of Madison. The turning radiuses would not allow it.
but what about the exiting? That's what I'm.
Even exiting.
Okay, the question I'm trying to get to, are you guys willing to, you know the condition of that road? Are you guys in in a position to, help improve that. Because it's in pretty bad shape as it is. Now with trucks going up and down it, somebody's gotta do something. Would you put that on the village?
Are you talking about Maywood?
Maywood Drive,
Maywood Drive.
to the south of the facility.
You know, let us look and let's talk to your village attorney about the possibilities of the appetite of this community to impose a fuel tax. Could that fuel tax be used to improve these roads? You know, I mean, that seems like something that's a discussion. That fuel tax could generate substantial amounts of money, some of which could go towards that.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up, let me ask you this, what's the projected time on this project?
I had on my slide there that 2015, there are several interested parties in this as far as operators and users of the site. And as that presents itself, we will come back to the village with that information. I would think it would be late 2015.
Okay, the reason why I'm again still at some of these that we had at street, first now, it's a very heavily used street. There's a bus company at the end, and there's a catering company, you know, so it's lively. Now we're talking about putting semis, trucks going west on that street. They're not gonna marry. It's just not gonna work. So something's gotta be worked out to whereas, and I don't wanna see the village having to go into coffers and address that street.
The Maywood Drive, the city limit is at 2100. Maywood really only has like 2 blocks of Maywood Drive, and then Bellwood takes over. There's a big terminal down there, and trucks are using Maywood Drive. But the city actually only, you stop 2 blocks west of 19th Avenue. And then from 21st to 25th, the remaining 4 blocks is Bellwood.
Okay, but my point is, the 2 blocks that we have, first of all, that street is, and you know as well as I do, that street is not wide enough. That's what I'm saying, some consideration, a lot of consideration is gonna have to be done. If that's gonna be your exit back to 25th, there's gonna be a lot of consideration till that street. I mean, if we go up 2 blocks, Bellwood's gonna probably say the same thing. It's gonna have to be wide, and it's definitely gonna have to be paved, you know.
Well, I don't know, last time, I've been in Maywood 40 years, and there's never been a thing done to that street in 40 years.
What we'd like to do is, we'd like to have the opportunity to send this to the Plan Commission. As you have requested, we'd like, you've asked for all economic development projects to come to the board for pre-authorization before going to plan, so that, it's not, so that you see it first and can, get familiar with it. We're asking for the opportunity for this to go to the Planning Commission so that we can work with the village attorneys. We've already started doing, research, on various areas, and, also doing research, but even before it goes to plan, on ensuring that, this is, that he's even in the realm of, being able to, come before you, even send it to, for pre-authorization. So this evening, we're asking for pre-authorization, for this economic development project to be sent to Plan Commission so that staff, village attorney can all work together to, come up with, addressing those concerns before it comes back to you.
One second.
Maybe I ask,
Yes, Mr. Myers want to say something, then,
I just got one more, ma'am. I just got one more. Just a short one.
okay.
Jobs. Now, this is gonna create jobs in the village of Maywood. Are you willing to make any kind of commitment to hiring, residents, training or whatever?
The operator, I'm sure, would use local labor. I can't speak for the operator of the facility. We
sir, and thank you.
Mr. Myers, and then you got trustee Jacobs, trustee Crawford.
Well, Mayor, I just want to reiterate what trustee Rivers was indicating, these concerns that you have, existing site conditions, existing roads, not only the section of Maywood Drive and 19th Avenue, these things that we have already discussed with them, and we will be addressing it in planning, during the planning process, just so you're aware.
Gotcha.
Okay, trustee
Okay, just a couple things.
Jacobs and then trustee Crawford.
Okay, where I'm all for this going to the, planning and zoning commission, but I just have a couple of concerns. You mentioned, exit on 17th Avenue. My concern are those truck routes, and we've done extensive work in, resurfacing 17th Avenue, so I'd be concerned if it's trucks are going through there, that's taken care of, and plus that goes through a primary residential territory. And certainly being a suburban community, it's quiet at night, and if this is gonna be a 24-hour fueling station, there's a possibility of trucks coming through, and these are semis, big trucks. You know, the noise quality in that area within the night hours. And also, with it being trucks, it's also, being positioned near a prairie path. And there are some safety concerns about that. And, you know, in terms of lighting, protection for pedestrians and bikers along the prairie path with trucks coming through there, that type thing. So those are some of my area, issues that I really would like to have addressed as it goes before the planning commission. Because those are some concerns I'm sure the residents are gonna have and people that use our prairie path, which is used quite frequently. We know we're moving into the 21st century, so it's really not good in terms of the fuel, you know, that you're able to provide for the trucks. So those are just my issues that I really want addressed.
Well, I can say this, that we could mandate that all trucks on west Maywood Drive. And, you know, absolutely, positively, no trucks between 19th and 17th. And then where the people cross 19th on the prairie path, that is a street, and you're right, you know, they have to be aware, as do the drivers coming down 19th, be it a truck or a car.
Yeah, we have to do our due diligence in terms of protecting the people that utilize the prairie path as we think about putting something in that area that's gonna affect them, you know, for, safety measures. Because currently, with not a lot of activity over there, a lot of the people that utilize the prairie path are oblivious to anything over there. And this would be something they would have to acclimate themselves to.
Well, they encounter the same thing though, when the prairie path comes east from 25th Avenue, they have to walk across 25th. There's no safety devices there unless they go to the stoplight, detour from the path, and go to the light post.
Well, that might be so, and you're accurate, but I don't want to repeat that there. I want to provide a safety in my community. When they cross 25th, once you get to 21st, that's Bellwood. That's not my concern. And that might be the situation there now, but I'm just trying to provide a measure of safety in my community to even consider something being put in our area. So that is my reason for bringing that up.
Okay. Trustee Jacobs, you will address those issues.
I just had two quick, I didn't hear you, did you indicate where, one of these facilities is in the Midwest?
Yes, there's one in Edwardsville.
Edwardsville? And where else?
It's fairly close to St. Louis. There's also one in, I believe, Collinsville, Indiana. I can get you those exact locations if you like.
And, I hope staff is going to, or I hope staff is taking notes to the questions that are being presented tonight, and also pose them to the planning commission. The other question I have, and I think you said you are the owner?
Yes.
Of the American Waste? You mentioned you were doing something to spray to reduce the odors on the north side, but what is being done for the south side of your properties? I'm a walker, and I take that route, and when I get in your area,
You can
I have to move fast, okay, because I'm concerned I'm gonna pass out. What can we do, to address the issue?
The grass issue, the landscape issue starts in May and it goes until October. And we're, as I said before, we're addressing that, and I don't want to be a bad neighbor. We take the grass now, it comes in pickup trucks, and we immediately load it in the boat. So we're not leaving it lay around. The smell should be pretty much alleviated.
Well, that would be fine if I'm not walking in the winter months, but in the months that I'm out walking and other people in the community are walking.
When was the last time you went?
Last week.
And did you smell something?
Oh, yes.
You did?
Yes. You know, it smells like something dead out here. It's really bad.
Well, it's an organic grass smell, and grass decomposes, and we
Well,
try
we
to.
shouldn't be subjected to that. You gotta find a way to.
Well, we are
If you
spraying,
can.
we are spraying it, no,
Well, you
there
spray
is,
it on under, please spray it in the back too.
well, we spray everywhere, but it's,
All right.
the way the wind is blowing, but again, nobody wants to smell. But smells are very subjective, I mean, some people smoke and the smoke doesn't bother them.
Smoking doesn't smell like that.
Well, no, but it affects some people in the same way you're
I
talking about.
understand,
You know,
Let's just try to find a solution to that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Can I just quickly address, you heard the issue of fuel tax a couple times. Bottom line is the village does have a home rule authority, you can implement a fuel tax. A few years ago, when you were looking at revenue streams, a fuel tax was discussed, and it was not favored at the time, because once you apply that fuel tax, it was just applied to this operation, it's got to be applied uniform to all your other, similar uses, your other gas stations. And there was a issue or response at that time, concerned that would take some of the gas stations that were on the edge of the community and put them in a competitive disadvantage with some of their competitors in other towns. So just something to consider.
Mayor, question in that regard. So every type of fuel would have to have same kind of fuel tax?
We'd have to look at that. Typically, when you have a fuel tax, you're gonna be having a uniform application, and, you're gonna define fuel, I mean, if we were to define it as natural gas, and they were willing to be the only person paying that tax, and then each other competitor who comes on board, that may be one way to do it. But, I mean, if we're gonna adopt what we looked at before, which was basically just a generic fuel tax, which covered all types of fuels that powered, automotive vehicles, it was taking in all the gas stations. And just a quick clarification, this is gonna be straight natural gas, there isn't gonna be any petroleum as a.
It's diesel. It's diesel and LNG, and I think it's gonna be more diesel first.
And that's, I guess, so you're gonna have both types of fuel,
Right.
not just the natural gas?
And, I know Shanahan has imposed just the fuel tax on its diesel sales. So let's look at that. I know they're a home rule municipality, but we're not gonna sell any gasoline for automobiles. It's gonna simply be for trucks, diesel fuel needs.
So it is gonna be both diesel and it's going to be
Right.
the natural.
And then to look at the impact of that on your current diesel fuel suppliers in your community as to whether that puts you at a competitive disadvantage. But when we think about the site, the fact that there really is no facility like this, with such proximity to the Eisenhower Expressway, that it can be a real home run for both the owner and the village. It's hard to find locations as well suited as this one, given that at the same time we have to be concerned about some of the issues that you raised about the neighborhood, the impact on the Prairie Path, and the like. It's been a very profitable conversation. I think this is a good process to learn what your concerns are. You have a very extraordinary notice requirement, 350 feet. So there's going to be a lot of the community that's given a personal notice on this. And I'm sure we'll have some of the same types of questions and others. So very much appreciate it, referral.
One last question, this is just real quick. On your initial projection, how conservative is this 8 trucks per hour? Is that on the high end or the low end?
I have to be honest, I sat at my desk and I said, what do I think is real? And I've worked on 15 different sites across the area for LNG over the past several years. And that's consistent with the projections elsewhere. I think this site, as Mr. Murray said, that has a very unique opportunity because I think that, to address one of the other questions too, is that I think primarily on the LNG side in particular, it will be a fleet fueling type operation where a trucking company has all of their trucks converted and they get the tax benefit and they jump, and they take that leap off the platform to make that conversion. And I can tell you that other companies like UPS and FedEx have done that. So I think the fleet fueling does add another layer of control about those drivers coming into the site know that this is the process, and they have their fleet card that they use for payment.
Thank you.
Motion?
Madam President,
Trustee Drew.
all right. Make a motion to move the discussion to the planning commission for further consideration, discussion regarding the proposed construction of the fueling station at 2100 Madison Street to be permitted in the M1 zoning district.
Second.
And moved in second. It's been moved to the planning and zoning for the fueling station at 2100 Madison. Are there any questions? Call the roll, please.
Trustee LaCrosse?
Aye.
Trustee Jacob?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot? Trustee Rivers?
Aye.
Mayor Perkins? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your recommendation.
Yes, that would be great. And the property, help them out. Next item, number 3, on the manager's report, is discussion regarding pre-authorization of a proposed project with Wild Hair Beauty Academy petitioner, Mr. Edmund Brooks, located at 811 South 5th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. They're requesting a special use permit in the C2 zoning district. The previous use of the building was a beauty salon. This is found in your packet on page 57. And we have Mr. Carl Palmquist going to come and present for you tonight.
Mr. Edmund Brooks of Wild Hair Enterprises is requesting a special use permit for a beauty salon in the C2 zoning district. The previous use of the building was for a beauty salon. The owner of that salon recently passed away. The new owner would convert the salon into a beauty school with the possibility of providing future vocational opportunities for Proviso East High School graduates. Future ambitions include obtaining 1 or 2 of the neighboring properties from the school's success. The owner provided pictures of proposed parking spaces for the school. Adequate parking will be provided by the owner. A currently proposed text amendment would allow for this use in this zoning district. The proposed use borders commercial on all 4 sides. And the staff's recommendation is to move to the next planning commission zoning board of appeals for deliberation and recommendations on special use permit from section 82 of the zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Carl. So in summary, you have an existing hair salon. They're requesting to bring in a beauty school. It's located right here on 811 South 5th Avenue. And this is before you tonight, requesting to move this forward to planning and zoning and request a special use to allow the school to go in as a academy.
Trustee Jacob.
Did they indicate, what the proposed days and hours of operation are for the school?
Are you aware of the hours?
No, I do not have that, the hours.
I know it'd be operating like a school, so it would be.
Yeah, but we need it down here.
Okay, all right. It's operating as a vocational school.
Right. And also,
required, to have 6 spaces according to the zoning ordinance, and they would be able to provide 4 in the back of the lot, and then they can provide 2 off-street parking spaces.
Okay, because I think as I read it, they were utilizing 4 of those spaces as part of the parking scenario on Fifth Avenue. But in the event that we develop that property across the street, how would that parking fit into their plans on that basis? Or is that a level of concern at this point?
They have parking, in the rear of the building.
They have parking in the rear of the building.
They have parking in the
Okay, I
rear.
thought they only accounted for 2 spots in the back, that's why I asked that.
No, they have stated they can provide 4 in the back of the lot and 2 on the street for 6.
Okay, the only reason why I asked that was because of the number of students that they are looking to garner at the school. And probably a lot of them be pedestrians, and also there is public transportation along Fifth Avenue, and some of the students for the school might take public transportation. If they didn't, that would be my issue, because they anticipate anywhere from, what, 25?
They had stated 16 to 20 students.
So that would be my own issue. The hours and days of operation in the apartment.
And all these items will be addressed during planning and zoning.
Are there any other questions? Motion,
Madam President,
trustee Rivers,
I make a motion to move to the planning commission, the proposed projected by Wild Hair Beauty Academy, located at 811 South Fifth Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. Let me move to the planning commission for consideration.
second. Then moved and seconded, move to the next planning commission zoning board of appeals for deliberation. Recommendation for the Wild Hair Enterprise Beauty Salon, School, 811 South Fifth. Are there any questions? Trustee Jacob.
One quick last question. Do they still intend to utilize that as a beauty salon as well as a school? Or is it just gonna totally change into a school?
It'll just be a school.
Yeah.
He's gonna discontinue the use of a beauty salon.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Trustee Lee Cross,
Right.
trustee Jacob,
Aye.
trustee Rogers,
Aye.
trustee Lightfoot, trustee Rivers,
Aye.
Mayor Perkins.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Carmen. Item number 4, discussion by Angela Smith, Coordinator of Business Development, pursuant to the support of the expansion of the Maywood Enterprise Zone. Village of Maywood received this request on behalf of Melrose Park based company, Franklin Kebab. This is a pharmaceutical company out of Melrose Park. As you recall, at our last board meeting, Mr. Kane came up during the public comments and kind of gave us an idea of the proposal. So as of tonight, he's here to give the presentation. And Anthony, you may.
Just to piggyback, Mr. Myers, and just to give a little bit of background, as I presented in my memo to you, the Village of Maywood is an enterprise zone. We are one of 77 enterprise zones, with Cicero is our closest, and Hotchkins as far as the western suburbs are concerned. Enterprise zone affords businesses the opportunity to receive certain types of incentives that hopefully allow businesses to grow in communities that have been historically at a disadvantage. It provides us with the advantage. Our enterprise zone is going to be up for, usually it's every 10 years. The state has changed the statute and is now saying that all enterprise zones must become new enterprise zones. So it's not a question of whether or not Maywood will be renewed in 2018. It's actually a question of us reapplying as a new enterprise zone. There was also a large debate in Springfield as far as these new enterprise zones and what they wanted the enterprise zones to look like. So now that more communities have become economically challenged, they're really looking for communities to work together and establish regional enterprise zones. What has happened is, and what is happening across the state, or I should say metropolitan Chicago, the metropolitan Chicago area, or suburban Cook County, is towns are coming together in order to apply for new enterprise zones. So this opportunity of the company in Merrill's Park coming to Maywood is not actually new. Let's see, about 3 or 4 years ago, Navistar came to Maywood and requested expansion of the enterprise zone. They were found that they were actually a high impact business, so that they could get the same incentives from the state as would be afforded them by the enterprise zone. This evening, or about 6 months ago or so, this Fresenius came to us in order to also, Fresenius and the Village of Merrill's Park came to us and also is requesting that we explore the opportunity to expand our enterprise zone in order to incorporate their plant in order for them to have expansion in Illinois. This is a project that we are in competition with another state for, so both our state representative, senator, and other people have a stake. The region has a stake in Fresenius investing in the region, as well as it's not just Merrill's Park. This is a regional project. So as far as Maywood is concerned, and our renewal, or not our renewal, but our application for the creation of a new zone, it blends well. It comes at a time that the staff will be asking the board of how you envisioned our enterprise zone operating under the new legislation. Should we become a regional zone, or should we try to put application in just for Maywood and see kind of how it goes? So this opportunity that Fresenius will be presenting to us tonight actually comes at a really good time for us to really start looking at how where we're going as far as our enterprise zone is concerned.
And if I may, could you just highlight on the physical impact benefit?
As far as Maywood is concerned, our the benefit to Maywood is, as I said, it's more of a regional. It's more of a regional benefit. The investment would be in Merrill's Park. There could be there could be agreements, memorandum of understandings, things that our attorneys would have to work on that mandate that fees. There is enterprise fees, fees that are half a percentage of project costs, but they're actually capped at $50,000. So the zone would, their project is well over $4 million, I think. 400 million, yeah. So Maywood, if we were to enter into an agreement that all enterprise zone fees and things like that would be paid to the Village of Maywood, then it would be capped at the $50,000. So there's the enterprise zone fee that is involved. The company has also, agreed to post jobs in Maywood and provide training to Maywood residents first and foremost. I'll let Mr. Kane kind of outline, what the other benefits are and can go more in depth and what the company is projecting for Maywood. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Mayor and other trustees, my name is Jim King. I actually prepared remarks and slides, and I have this bad habit of getting away from remarks because it's hard for me to kind of switch with the reading glasses back and forth. So I apologize because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. And thank you again for letting me present during the public comment period a few weeks ago. I know it was a difficult day, and I appreciate the situation you were in. But I'm a little anxious to share with you the opportunity that we have coming to the region. And by way of background, before I introduce the company, I want to introduce myself. I've lived in the Chicago area for 25 years. I came here from all over, New York, New Jersey, Texas, New Mexico, Indiana, and London for a year, but I've lived here for 25 years, and I love this area, and every time I get an opportunity to go to a different village or a different city, I keep going. We live in the greatest place in the country. And I do incentive work across the country. I spend a lot of time in California and things. But the other thing I do, I chair the Chicagoland Chamber Tax Committee. And in that role, I've been able to go down to Springfield and testify before the House Revenue Committee on what do we need to do to spur economic development in the state. And what I bring to the table that the other people that go to the table and talk at that committee don't bring is I represent businesses across the country. And I see programs that work, and I see programs that don't work. And I'm here before you today requesting, because you don't have to do this. It's your enterprise zone, you have the designation. You're not compelled to do a thing. But I'm here requesting that you think about the region and think about the potential impact that it would have for your village. And I plead with you to kind of think about what is the right thing to do here. So I have a company that owns a piece of property, and when I first met Angela, the first question was, move to Maywood. And I said, I would love to, and she's like, we got this parcel sitting at 9th Avenue and St. Charles, and I could see this beautiful gleaming facility that you talked about, Jim. And I said, the problem is, I have a FDA licensed facility. And I don't know if anyone realizes the significance of that, but it's tough to get an FDA license. And when you have it, you have to stick with the facility that's licensed. So we didn't have the luxury to move. If we did, I think Angela probably would have dragged us here, and we'd be at 9th and St. Charles. And I have to tell you, she is an excellent representative of your village. And she's been a pleasure to work with, although things have gone a lot slower than I'd like, and I want to just get this thing done, but we have to go through things. So none of that was in my script, but I just wanted to speak from the heart and tell you that we do have a tremendous opportunity, and it does have impact on Maywood. The company I want to introduce to you is a tough name to say. It's a German company. It's called Fresenius Kabi. I'm sure none of you have ever heard of it before, but tomorrow you're going to be driving down the street and you're going to see one of their dialysis centers, which is a different entity in the same corporate family, and they're everywhere. I never realized it until I started working for this company that I had never heard of. And I apologize, guys, because I know this company's your passion, but I just had never heard of them. They're a great company, and they have great products. Products that each one of you, if you've ever had a loved one in the hospital, and you've had an IV hooked up to you, most likely one of the products was made, and there's a good chance it was made in Melrose Park, and you never knew about it. In fact, when I was talking to the state, they didn't even know we had a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Melrose Park. It was a best-kept secret. Yet it employs 400 to 500 people, mostly local, and they're great-paying jobs in the pharmaceutical industry. Today, I asked a few of the people to come with me. The main
project guy is not here. He's in New York at their other major showcase plant in the United States. He's there a lot, unfortunately. He's a local guy. And if he gets his way, Steve Nowicki, Angela's met him, I think Dave, you met her, met him. This will come here. But we've had a big challenge to tear down some barriers. Real quick, Fresenius makes injectable pharmaceuticals, so something that goes through the IV. They make generics, and they make sterile injectables that cover cardiovascular, critical care, anesthesia, and anti-infectives. None of that's on the slide, but I heard the question earlier, what do these guys make? That's what they make. The expansion will allow them to make more of that stuff. And they might eventually be able to bring some other products here. Joining me from the company today, Jean Lalonde is the plant manager, fairly new plant manager. Eric Hernandez is the plant controller. And then Teresa Lovely is the regional controller. She's over the United States. And if there's questions I can't answer, I'm hoping they can answer, and if not, we'll get back to you on that. Real quick, the company has plants in New York and Illinois, in the U.S. There's also a small location in North Carolina, but then Norway, Sweden, Austria. These are the facilities that all make the injectable drugs that are also made in Melrose Park or complementary to the drugs that are made there. There's lots of other plants in the world that this company owns. Real quick, the plant itself is sitting north of North Avenue, south of Armitage, and it's just west of 25th Avenue. If you know where the old Alberto Culver headquarters is, if I can point, that's kind of on the right side of the slide, so it's just west of there. In the middle of that odd shape with a curve on it, parcel is the plant itself. I have a little yellow pin on top of it. Within the boundaries of that, just to the south and to the north, were manufacturing plants that up until a few years ago were running or at least occupied, but they became vacant. And the western half of that odd shape is vacant land that the company currently uses to park. Because if you have 400 employees, there's no street parking over there. So they needed that parcel. Just north of that odd shape and just west of the curved line is a vacant property as well, that if all things go right, even more development could occur at this property. And then the box on its own is a warehouse that the company owns, and they have chemistry labs so they can run tests and handle product as it comes out of the manufacturing operation. So that's their operations there. They're also in Lake Zurich. They have a headquarters in Lake Zurich. And then in Skokie, they have a research and development facility that the plant manager I told you about, Steve, he would love to bring that to this site as well. He wants a campus. Historically, you couldn't have a campus here because there were other buildings, and it's an urban setting. There is no land. You couldn't do anything. So this plant, the last major upgrade was in the 80s, and you can't keep making injectable pharmaceuticals with 80s technology. I think when Fresenius first acquired the company that owned the plant, they didn't even buy this plant. They were thinking, close that one down, make it all in New York. They got lots of extra land. They're up by Niagara Falls. They got cheap power because it's hydro, all these different things. But luckily, we got Steve Nowicki, who's like, wait, I grew up here. This is a great plant. And him and the team that work at that plant rallied to make it the most productive, profit-making plant for the company to make them say, wow, this is a good plant. Then we got lucky. The land came available. They were able to acquire a couple parcels. So then we had a problem over rail spur. The rail spur is that curved thing there. It hasn't been used for 30 years, and everyone said, you'll never get the railroad to sell it. I'm proud to say a week ago, they told us they'd sell it to us. So the last barrier is an enterprise zone. Because without the enterprise zone designation, what they want to do here costs way too much money. Now, what will the enterprise zone get us? It gets us a sales tax exemption on building construction materials, okay? It also will allow us, as we create jobs and investment, to get an exemption on the utility taxes that we pay to the state. And those two things make a huge difference to whether this will be profitable or not. And that's why we're before you, and that's why I've been Angela's best friend for over 6 months, Angela. I know it seems like 6 months, but, so, real quick, the plant's less than 2 miles from here. And right now, there's 12 Maywoodians who work at the plant, some of them for 30 years. And the plant may have been owned by different companies, and it's been there that long. We're hoping to create at least 250 jobs over a very long construction process, because as you build it, the FDA still has to approve it. The company, we've talked a lot about Angela, and she strong-armed us, and we came up with what I think is a good opportunity, which is we're posting a lot of jobs. We're hiring people locally. We said before posting them to the public, we can kind of give an advance posting to Maywood residents. Now, I will tell you, Melrose Park said they better get the same advance posting, but not to the general public. We'll give an opportunity for your citizens to come in there and apply for the jobs and kind of get in line first. They still need to earn the job through the interview process, and I brought some job descriptions because I was ready for you to ask me, what are these jobs? Angela's asked a lot. A lot of the jobs, the entry-level jobs, require a high school degree and some sort of mechanical or mathematical aptitude towards doing things, and I'll walk you through the plant so you can kind of see what that would look like. Here's an overview of the plant, and I want to offer anyone that wants a tour of the plant, the guys here said they'd be happy to facilitate a tour. But products come in at the dock, okay? And then they're carried over to kind of the prepping area. And then their vial staging is the next area where they're kind of getting the vials to fill the pharmaceuticals into the vials. You can tell I'm not a pharmaceutical guy here because I'm studying with this. Then you have to wash the vials. We need to get these things, where we're not passing any germs or anything, so we have to go through sterilization, which is a big oven here, right? And then from there, we got a filling line. We have a number of filling lines. And then lyophilization. I can't tell you, freeze dry. Okay. So that's a lyophilization process. And then you package it and you ship it back out. Okay? Now, the expansion will be some different buildings and it may be different processes. Because some of the products they want to isolate in separate buildings and just be a little more efficient with the flow. Why is this a big deal? How many people have heard of offshoring of manufacturing jobs from the U.S. somewhere else? This is onshoring manufacturing jobs from Europe to the U.S. This is a big deal. We had a U.S. congressman weigh in to the railroad saying, if you're not going to use that darn thing, you better talk to these guys. I think it helped. This is a big deal. This is something going around the country. We need to get more manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. I was talking to the head of engineering for the company. He's from Germany. And he was so proudly describing a plant that they totally modernized in Germany. And he said everyone was worried they were going to let people go. They hear modernization and mechanization, and they said, you're getting rid of jobs. He said, we have the same number of workers, and we went and trained the line people, the people that have worked for us all these years, to perform the new skills. And he said, they do it better than any engineer I can hire. And he said, that's what we do. And when you look around the plant, you realize that's what it is. They invest in their workers. And as they expand the workforce, they're going to invest in the existing workers, they're going to invest in the new workers. And it's culturally, that's what this company does. Now, Steve Nowicki, he boasts that New York's the showcase, and we're just kind of the guys in Melrose Park. He goes, he looks out the window, he goes, knocking that building down. I want to get that corner over there, I want to knock that building down, and I'm going to have this all glass, state-of-the-art thing. I need to get Melrose Park to fix the roads, and then I can bring the guys in from Germany, and I can bring customers in, and proudly say, look at this gleaming, beautiful, productive facility. We got a chance to get that. He uses the term showcase. I kind of like that because right now it's a brick building, you wouldn't even know who was in there. Inside it's glistening and beautiful and pretty cool. guess what? Everything's not rosy and easy. We're in the middle of the frickin' city. It's hard to go and do basically a development like this. And we're fighting a lot of hurdles. I've been working on this 18 months. I worked with DCEO to get an edge credit first, and then I said we need help on some other things, and they worked well with me. I worked with Melrose Park to get the Class 6B, and then we needed some tip help because the utilities are not gonna make it over there. Water, sewer, electric, they just can't support a facility like this, right? Then the rail spur. The real estate guys said, forget it. You're never gonna get the railroad to sell the rail spur. I raised my hand, I said, I'm gonna lean on anyone I can at the chamber to find a railroad, to lean on that railroad, to see what I can do, and I think I got lucky. But the railroad eventually, after 8 months, agreed to sell us that rail spur because it hasn't been used for 30 years. And it was impeding a wonderful development. We haven't closed on it yet. And we didn't want to come before you until we had the other impediments, because Andy was like, you waste these guys' time, and then you find out the railroad won't sell the spur, you're gonna make me look like an idiot. So I didn't want to make you look like an idiot, because you know, I don't know. So we got that. So now we're here before you saying, time's critical. We need the enterprise zone. Now, I was in Springfield in May trying to get legislation to get high impact business. And they kept saying, go back to MAYWOOD, right? So I'm hoping MAYWOOD doesn't come and go back to Springfield, but that's a possibility, I understand that. But we need the enterprise zone because otherwise New York's gonna. Last year, and I testified in Springfield on this, New York, who has worse unemployment than Illinois, eliminated all taxes on manufacturers. Eliminated it. If you're a manufacturer in New York, you don't have any income tax, you don't have any sales tax, and your property tax, the state rebates half of the tax. That's what we're fighting. Okay? But we have Steve Nowicki. So if we can get the enterprise zone, I'm pretty confident Steve's gonna get the board to approve an investment that could be anywhere from $200 million to $500 million, and to create jobs that are gonna pay $30,000 to $40,000 a year entry level and invest in their workforce, and that could be 200 to 400 more jobs. And who knows, he wants to bring a warehouse that the warehouse guys want in Memphis. Steve says, why wouldn't I put the warehouse in here? It's not part of the project today, but that's that parcel he has designed. You guys have the opportunity to help us get there. Now, what are we talking about? I'm just gonna jump to the picture. I came up with 2 options. Well, actually, Angela came up with 2 options, and I used a mapping system to do it. The first option, Maywood's in yellow here on the board, which had a laser plan. So all of Maywood's is zoned. The extension of the zone has to be contiguous with the existing zone, so we have to connect somewhere. So one possibility is to connect to 25th Avenue and the Eisenhower. Run straight up 25th Avenue, and I just ran it from 25th westward to the railroad tracks. They run all the way up to North Avenue, basically. But then when we get to North Avenue, we have to go westward a little more to include the plant. So I run over to Cornell, which is where that warehouse is. And then that runs all the way up to Armitage, which is kind of the north boundary of that section. So it would include the Alberto Culver section over there. It would include Carrier Ingredients, it's a big employer over there. And then any of the industry in Bellwood or along that way could potentially take advantage of enterprise zone benefits. So one of the things I want to plant the seed of, Angela said, if you extend the zone and the company goes forward and applies for the sales tax exemption on building materials, and you have in place the enterprise zone fee, which by statute you're allowed to have, the company is going to have to pay $50,000. That's one company, one project. If there's other projects along that have now been brought into the zone and someone decides to make investment, they can generate enterprise zone fees. Now, I don't know the restrictions on what those fees are. I don't know if they stay with the zone, if they go to the village. I mean, I'd have to defer to your attorneys. But there is an opportunity to turn your enterprise zone into a revenue opportunity. This is just one piece of the opportunity. So one of the the other criteria when you expand the zone is you still need to meet the socioeconomic criteria of the zone that you originally created. So I just have some income maps here to show that this area should qualify. And the second option, which is the easiest option, is to go, it's basically around St. Charles Avenue and 21st, and kind of shoot directly into Melrose Park, and then go northward on 25th and cover the area. Because if you do the first option, you also need Bellwood to agree to have an enterprise zone in their community. Now, my sense is they'd be thrilled, but, you know, it's just one additional resolution that would have to occur to expand that zone. And then here's the socioeconomic information. I tried to summarize the benefits. You can also do a cost sharing on zone administration when you have multi-governmental enterprise zones. So if all the staffing is sitting on Maywood's payroll, yet some of the zone benefits are with Melrose Park, then through an intergovernmental agreement, there could be some cost sharing that, you know, you could negotiate. I can tell you that the mayor of Melrose Park, and he's met with Mayor Perkins here at least once on this, I mean, he's very motivated to see this project occur because it would be good for Illinois, it would be good for Melrose Park, it would be good for the region. And I would hope that he would be very cooperative on that. Some of the things that have to happen, first is you guys got to decide that this is something we should explore. Here's the challenge. We can't wait for the new application process. If that happens, this is going to New York, and you know, it's really pleasant meeting you guys and things like that. We need, you know, an interim fix to move forward on getting the zone expanded, and we need early progress to kind of get New York off our heels, but we need the zone in place by the end of the year, because if this is going to happen, they need board approvals, they need engineering drawings, and they want to start breaking ground like in 2015, because this is a 3 to 8 year project in the grand scheme of things. So with that, I did a lot of talking, and I apologize for doing all the talking. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about the project because I know it's good for Illinois. This is why I testify down in Springfield, because we need manufacturing jobs, and we need them in this area. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if it's something I can't answer, I have brilliant pharmaceutical people right behind me.
Any questions? I just have one question just to get started. You talked about a deadline, end of this year. What needs to be done? Can you clarify that to the board and the community? What needs to be done by the end of the year? What needs to be approved? How far along in the process, the approval process, do we have to get by this deadline?
Yeah, so by the end of the year, we need the zone expanded. Fully expanded.
Full application submitted.
Right, so the process, my understanding is the first part is you need someone to kind of draw the map and look at the socioeconomic data and fill out an application that would be submitted to Illinois DCEO requesting an expansion of the zone. And so, and Kane McKenna is a consulting firm that this village uses and others use. I've already consulted with them to make sure they'd be available. They gave me a cost estimate of what it would be, and I said, clearly, Maywood's not gonna pay for that. I said we would figure it out, either the company or Melrose Park through their TIP district that is gonna be surrounding this plant, would pay for that fee. Kane McKenna said they think the work that they do could then, in turn, be leveraged into your new zone application, so that you're kind of getting, you know, the benefit of some work that they have to do for this, because I'm very focused on, we need really good benefits to ask you guys to vote on something that you can't say is sitting in your village. I heard it loud and clear, and I think that's one of the things. So that would have to happen. Then a public hearing has to happen, and there is a notice period. It's like between 20 and 5 days, so you know, you have to have notice and a public hearing within the enterprise zone to say we're thinking of expanding, give people an opportunity to speak. Then you need a resolution saying we resolve that we want the zone expanded. Melrose Park and or Bellwood both have to pass a resolution the same way. Melrose Park has told me, give them the word, they'll pass it. I have not talked to Bellwood, but if you went up through Bellwood, they would have to approve that resolution. Then the application goes to DCDO. I personally will hand carry it with Angela. We will sit down with Adam Pollard, who's the director, and they know that there's a chance it's coming. They're waiting on the sidelines. I thought about inviting them here, and I thought that was very presumptuous, but I think they are prepared to act. When they approve the application, then the zone is expanded. That's what I need done by the end of the year. What I need very soon, though, is an indication from this esteemed panel here, the board, to say, attorney, enterprise zone administrator, go forward and make this happen, subject to negotiating a good deal for Maywood and making sure that we're protected, but that this is a good opportunity for us. I'm comfortable that I will be a spokesperson to anyone as there is going to be an enterprise zone board that's going to have to go and decide who gets a zone and who doesn't. Hopefully this is a great demonstration that you guys have this regional cooperation. They're really, and Barbara Flynn Curry was the one that I think was the toughest person on enterprise zones. She wanted to get rid of them all. She said, they've been around 30 years, we don't need them anymore. They either worked or they didn't. Why would you leave someone with a zone if they had 30 years? And the problem is, you know, Maywood is a wonderful community, okay? But it's largely a residential community, and some of these enterprise zone benefits, they don't benefit residential. They benefit industrial and some commercial. So I think by expanding the reach, which you're allowed to do, you can have like 12 square miles of area covered with a zone. You have a couple. So if you could expand the reach, you actually have an opportunity to really influence this region and hopefully economically make sense of it. So, you know, we need something to kind of show the company to give Steve Nowicki ammo, because every time he's in New York, there's New York guys saying, we should build it here. We have land. We have a great plant going here. We got, you know.
Are there any other questions from the board? Right.
We gotta do the expansion for enterprise zone. For you to build in Melrose Park. Are we building anything in Maywood?
We are not. And the reason, and Angela and I spent a lot of time, the reason we're not, the plant in Melrose Park is licensed by the FDA. So if we expand the plant, we can expand the plant and get inspections and be done. If we were to, let's say we wanted to just come build a new plant here, you couldn't get FDA licensing for like 10 or 15 years, I think. And Steve told me you probably wouldn't even get it. So the issue is, we just can't.
Could I clarify something? Now, you had mentioned a warehousing building. If the warehousing building isn't a plant that doesn't need FDA approval with the village, would the company consider building in our industrial zone, which is closer to the Melrose Park border, which is actually just off of, not too far off of North Avenue?
You know,
And I mean, because you mentioned that warehousing facility was a little down the road, you know, that would certainly make the overall transaction more win-win for both parties. And we do have a site on St. Charles, that, you know, depending on what their needs would be for a warehousing facility, it may work for them.
Right. And I mean, we definitely could look at it. I will caveat, right now they have a warehouse in Bensonville, and Steve's point is, I get finished product and I have to put it in a truck and drive it somewhere. And he's trying to get warehousing where, you know, he can just put it next door. It would be better than being in Memphis than being here, so I would gladly approach him. You know, what I've told Angela is this is a gem. I found a gem, and I do a lot of economic development. I've already, you know, teed this up with a limo company that is a very large limo company that I think you guys are ideally situated for that company, and I have other clients in the distribution area. So I think that, you know, there's other opportunities for me to just take the knowledge I have and bring it out there, and I would definitely approach the company and say, is there something we can put here? But my only caveat is if his angle is he doesn't have to truck anything, then, you know,
No, I
a
understand.
mile and a half is still more than a half a block.
Small point, but important point, I think. You mentioned that Maywoodians work at this company. I think that, particularly if you come before us again, it really makes a lot of sense to me to have Maywoodian be here as a part of your representation. I mean, I do appreciate the professional perspective that you bring, but it's important to me to hear from the Maywoodian, particularly if they've worked there for 30 years, to get their perspective on what that would be like. That, and this is the second time tonight that we've had a company that talked about Maywoodians that work at the company. I would make the effort if I were any of you companies, and I guess that's a tip for you guys when you're talking with them. I, in particular, and I imagine some of my colleagues on this board, would like to hear at least a nod from some of the people that live and work in this community. That gives me testimony from another perspective that is important. So, it's just a tip.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not for them, I have some for staff.
Okay, the motion?
I have questions for the staff as it related to the enterprise zone.
I'm saying you want to ask for that vote motion?
Well, it would be helpful.
Okay, Andrew, trustee Crawford has a question.
Our enterprise zone expired when?
It expires in 2018. My original plan was, to go in 2016 because it is such an exhaustive, application. And the attorneys and I, it's huge. My goal was to actually, start in 2016, to actually submit for 2016.
So it hasn't expired?
No,
Okay.
it has not.
Because it was unclear, you said that you couldn't wait for us to reapply. So if this transaction took effect, it would be before the expiration. So explain how, is it because it would be expiring prior to the completion of the project?
Well, actually, what happens is we have to file an application for expansion. And the application for expansion is different than the application for the actual new zone that we would be applying for. As Mr. Kane mentioned, a lot of the work that we would do for the expansion application, or I shouldn't say but we would have Kane and McKinnon do for that expansion application would go into our application for a new zone. So we're actually kind of doing the work ahead of time for the 2016
Is
date.
the new zoning criteria more strenuous than the way we've applied in the past? Is that right?
Yes, most definitely, because the state is truly looking for regional cooperation. Like for instance, the south suburban communities have already, gotten a jump on us, through their mayors and managers. They've already come together and they're going to, submit, a lot of their towns they're going to submit one application for South Suburban Cook County. So it is more, it's a larger application just because the state really wants to see regional cooperation, and so that makes it a little bit harder because you have to kind of try to pull communities together if that is what our board wants to do.
One, could I just comment, just as a clarification, this expansion of the enterprise zone and that application process, actually will help support, if the board wants to go forward and renew, it's not really a renewal, but overlay, like cooperating with one or more other municipalities will help support the criteria for you to get the new designation for the enterprise zone under the new statute. So, this may look like some or all the benefits, falling on the Melrose Park side, but by cooperating with them, you really have to look at the bigger picture. This cooperation sets you up in a good position to get a new designation, to keep your enterprise zone in place, not only where you can collect fees from projects that are built on the Melrose side part of the fence, but for any enterprise zone activity that would continue to be productive in Maywood moving forward, you would keep a lot of the enterprise zone in as well. So there's a win-win on both sides. They just happen to have the one project right now, but that one project will help your expansion application, which will in turn help your new application for designation. It's one way to look at it.
What also happens with the enterprise zone too, like I just got a call, last week, the state is looking to us because these are large companies, so if they move to New York, it's a loss for the state. So they're looking at, the village of Maywood, like, okay, it hinges on our regional cooperation. So just last week, I got a call, from an unidentified company in Bellwood. The state, once again, they may have to move because of the price of sugar. I can guess who that is. But, and so, once again, Maywood has an enterprise zone. If they're able to take advantage of the enterprise zone, the state is able to negotiate them staying in our region. So that's, and so when our application comes to Springfield, you have our representative saying, yay, look at our towns, they're coming together in order to really make an economic development impact for the region.
Our past experiences with the enterprise zone, how have we benefited? Positive, or explain that?
The enterprise zone has assisted in the redevelopment of the American Can site. When Mayor Connor originally created the enterprise zone, the thought was for it to be used for the redevelopment of the American Can site. So many of our businesses take advantage of the enterprise zone. Many of our big businesses take advantage of the enterprise zone. So it has been very successful. Since the downturn of the economy, we have of course seen a lot of industrial development and things of that sort. However, our enterprise zone was also focused in on multifamily high commercial housing, meaning that we are able to offer enterprise zone benefits as far as the sales tax exemptions for large like multifamily buildings and things of that sort. So we have been seeing some of that as of late, as investment into the enterprise zone.
Can you give some examples of locations and stuff, because I'm not familiar with it?
Sure, as far as the industrial, like for instance, multi-family, we recently just did an enterprise exemption on multi-family building on 1010 Greenwood. It's a 24 unit building. They were able to take advantage of the enterprise sales tax exemption on their building materials for that building.
Okay, and in this particular proposal, we're getting a flat, I heard a formula of something about 400 million, and there's a cap or something for us at, is it 50?
Well, under the state statute, the enterprise zone is able to charge a 0.5% on the
exemptions that are given. However, the state caps it at $50,000. So we can only, so like on those smaller projects, if we charged a fee, we could, we would get a lot of fees for those, but on a large project like this, it caps it, at 50,000. So it's not like we can, have a 0.5% per, million, yeah.
So it wouldn't be, I mean, in this particular instance, in the 40 minimum, it's more than 20,000? Not, I mean,
we would be
how is that
capped.
formula? Because you say it's capped at 50, so we
Right,
wouldn't even
we
be
would-
getting the 50.
Right.
Unless I'm not
This
mistaken,
project,
because if you're talking about
if-
half of a.
When the company goes for, if you had the fee in place and the company goes forward and applies for the building construction material, at the 0.5%, you're gonna get the 50,000.
You'll get 50,000. It'll
That's
be capped. No,
Yeah.
you'll get 50.
Oh, so it's a flat, so. I
It'll
didn't
be
understand.
flat
Well,
in this
it's a
case.
0.5% capped at 50,000, but you're gonna hit the cap, so it's.
You're gonna hit the cap because it's such a large project.
It's a big project.
Thank you.
And I wanna, I would just wanna make it clear that that would be something that, there would have to be an intergovernmental agreement, in the way that, this, enterprise zone would operate and how those fees would come, to Maywood.
Madam President? Madam President? Just a question. I'm really concerned, with the portion of the agreement, whereas Maywood residents would get, advance notice of the, jobs openings instead of, than you do to the general public. How would that come about? Would you notify our village manager or economic development? How would we be notified of openings?
Okay, so first, full disclosure, this is new to me in that I've never actually implemented something like this before. But as I thought about it, and I thought about it a lot, the company, as they have the jobs, and I actually brought a folder of job descriptions, the thought would be the postings would come to Angela or however you want. And then I think we need to work together to say, how do we do that? And, I think the company, from the company's perspective, they're eager to meet potential employees. I mean, they can't keep up with the hiring they want to do. So we could brainstorm about how do we do that?
Things like a job fair.
Right.
They
I
could
mean,
put
I
on a job fair.
I think we could
Community has,
do that.
every needs, requires.
So just, let me address just really quickly what we currently do. Whenever we are, posting jobs, we obviously use the internet as our first form of communication, but we can certainly consider and envision, the possibilities of doing on-site job fairs, as is being mentioned. We have human resources that often go out to either colleges or locations where we feel that would be attractive to potential employees to come out and fill an application. We can certainly pursue different options, and I'm really open to what benefits Maywood in this opportunity that we're talking about tonight.
Thank you.
Mayor?
I just have one quick, just based on that, statement. Will, the company require any tip fees?
Oh, well, from Melrose Park.
Okay, but
Yeah.
not from us?
Oh, no, I mean, that's not part of it. It's not under our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Unless
positively not,
unless
yeah.
they brought the warehousing.
To Maywood,
Then
they
they would have
could
the
request
option,
it.
and they would have to come before us.
Mayor, I would then move that we direct the village attorney and staff to work with Seniors, the village of Melrose Park, and I suppose I'll add the village of Bellwood, in the event that you explore that opportunity for the expansion of benefits to Maywood through the enterprise zone.
Second.
Then moved in second, and we, you're right.
did add Bellwood to that because one of the scenarios.
But they said that they didn't necessarily mean Bellwood, if Bellwood was too. So you want to include Bellwood?
Yes, I do, because I, don't wanna have to wait to come back to add that part, if that seems to make more sense, to use that other option. Although it will come back probably several times before anything got finalized, but I would not like to see the expiration be delayed, on that basis.
And to include Bellwood. Are there any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee DeCross?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobs?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot?
All right.
Trustee Rivers?
Aye.
Mayor Perkins? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kane, and thank you. Item number 5 on the manager's report, discussion regarding application for Exhibit 1 for Class 8 Tax Incentive Program submitted to the Cook County Assessor's Office of Village of Maywood by Ms. Jody Ann Lowenthal, property located at 1110 South St. Charles Road. Amen.
Promise this is the last time you hear from me this evening.